make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Take my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me.
Really hoping that this camera makes it all like better, or makes it at least a little better. But the big thing I want is for it to be smooth, right? Like we want this to not be like really awkward and choppy, and video goes out a lot. So here we go. So I have autofocus on, and I was tinkering with it a little before we started. Hopefully it doesn't cause too many problems. I need to find a good, like, this is a good comfy spot for me to hold something. But I feel like it's a little too low. I do have this. Come on. Yeah, what we're gonna do is I'm basically gonna have to click on that and then turn autofocus off. So now autofocus is off. There we go. I'm just gonna have to manually do it every time, which is fine. Because this is gonna be where I hopefully, like, the general area that I paint in as we're going. Question is, yeah, I think I hit this guy with the brighter blues. I'm pretty sure I did. Oh no, the camera's beautifully off to the side. Like, it's not going to affect me at all. Which is excellent. Because this is actually really zoomed in. Like, it's actually like pretty far back. The trick is that the zoom on this doesn't suck. Like, the zoom I was using on like my other stuff was digital zoom, which meant like zooming in would make things blurry. That's not what you want. You don't want any of that crap to be blurry. I think we'll do the belt buckles in silver, or in metal rather. And just get a little bit of this brighter blue down. So there's another paint night tonight. He actually posted up. He was like, hey, who's coming to paint night? So I'm gonna see, by the end of the stream, I'm gonna see what the response is. Because like I literally saw no one. I think it's a lot of it comes down to like the community building. I don't think they're really doing a good job of like local community building. Because it's like the day of is when they're like, oh, let's remind everyone. Let's not like try to hype things up. Let's not do like a store tournament for paint job stuff like in store. Like there's just a level of it where it feels like they're not putting the individual effort in to try to like build the community. So like I don't know if it's gonna really take off, because it just consistently feels like a last minute thing, right? Like they're just like, oh yeah, paint night. Like that's not how you get people to come to paint night, is by last second remembering paint night's a thing. I got shellacked at that tournament on Saturday. Another stark reminder that solely trying to rely on dice rolls doesn't work when your army doesn't exactly get around dice rolls. Oh no, yeah. I mean, if you have the friends, you have the friends. But it looks like the store that I'm near is trying to build like with people, because they get people to come in the store and buy the models all the time. So they're like, maybe we could have a community. And like, I don't know, they're not pushing it well enough. But yeah, I got shellacked at that tournament. I'm already signed up for a new one, though. Right back into the fire. I'm going to do a new team, though. I'm going to try the MSU approach with more specific function built in. I got a game this Wednesday to try it out, because I do want to try this list early. No, it was fun. It was fun to see people. I definitely want to try to buy a chess clock. I feel like, I don't know if it was me or my opponent in that last round that got the timer to kind of wear down. We didn't do a turn 5. I did a turn 5 every single round up till the last round. Which, like, sure. What's up? Go for it. My last opponent, though, the way he rolled was a little, like, concerning for me. Like, personally, I was thinking of rolling in a similar way, right? But I do fully believe now that rolling kind of everything all at once, even the like extra like weird little attacks, is not how the game is supposed to be played. Because technically you're supposed to resolve every single dice, right? So it's fine for when you choose the one profile to multi-attack with, right? That's fine. That's great. That's good. But like he was doing like all of his attacks, right? So like as a Tyranid player, he would be like, all right, I'm rolling the big dice for the big damage. I'm rolling the little dice for the little damage. And I was like, that was something I was planning on doing for me. I didn't do it because when you're rolling for your opponent, because dice rolls, it's different than Kill Team. This would work in Kill Team, but like if that was like the system, but it's not. But in 40K, as the dice play out, That's it. So like if a single dice roll kills a specific unit, you can technically lean into like a different style of attack, right? So like let's say I have a squad that has extremely durable bodyguard, right? Technically what's supposed to happen is I'm supposed to ask how many wounds you have in that squad, right? So if my big attacks can do 40 wounds by the end of them, and I have to get through 30 wounds to kill your guard, and if I can math it out where I'm like, okay, well, each of my attacks is 3 wounds and each of your guard are 3 health or something, like in some way where it matches up, right? Like if I know you have, let's say, 2 guard left at 3 wounds apiece, and I have attacks that do, let's make it different. Let's say 4 damage each per attack, and you have 2 guard left at 3 wounds. Technically, I want to bulk roll 2 dice at the same time, because the moment those guard are dead, that's it. I have to double check fighting, but to my understanding, the attack roll is the same between shooting and fighting, which means single dice rolls are important. So unless there is an ability active on that squad that persists until the end of the phase, not just a buff based on there being units in the squad, that's all that matters. So like if your bodyguard are toughness 5 or something crazy, what you're probably gonna want, and your leader's toughness like 3, like they're actually meant to bodyguard him because they're huge toughness that you have to get through to get to him. I'm rolling those big damage toughness versus toughness 5 from strength dice against the toughness of the bodyguard until the bodyguard are dead, and then I'm rolling them against toughness 3, at least to my understanding of what I've been, really tinkering into with the 10th edition rules. The survival rate is really just tied to whether or not the units are still there. So like him rolling all the dice all at once was like, ooh, that's, because I had feel no pain units, and for me to be like, oh well, let me go through your small ones first with my feel no pain. Like for the ability for me to be like, hey, I'm gonna roll. So my guys have 4 wounds a pop with feel no pains, the chaos bomb. You're saying your little ones are 2 apiece and your big ones are 3 apiece. Well, let me cluster out the 3 ones, because the 3 ones won't kill them outright if I have to roll for it. And then we'll go into the 2s, which are a little, like, it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. No. It's not super bad for my list, but if you were fighting my new list, it's bad, because I'm using Terminators. And Terminators get the -1 to wound if they have a leader, I think. No, the Scarab actually get it throughout. So it would be the Genestealer cult. It would be the Abominant and the Aberrants. Those would be the ones where they're like, hey, we don't care. Where you would want to make sure that the Aberrants were all dead, because then the -1 to wound rolls are gone, which means every roll after the bodyguard are dead are regular rolls. So like, rolling all at once is a bad idea. You hear that Trajan is getting dumpstered on for the release of the Custodes Codex? So many people are freaking out. Like, so many people are freaking out right now. Oh no, my Trajan! My freaking 60-something% win rate Custodes. No. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've this whole time I've been fully expecting that on drop, the Thousand Suns Codex, or maybe even before, they might even adjust it in index form. I'm expecting Magnus to get a lot worse. I am expecting Magnus to get dumpstered. I have no qualms in my head. There's no moment in my mind where I'm like, nah, he'll stay a god. No, he's gonna get dumpstered. It's gonna happen. Magnus has been too strong at the beginning here. Of course not. Magnus does nothing wrong. Yo, I had some good plays though. I actually had a demoralizing play against a Knights player. That was pretty cool. All right, how close can I get where the focus? I think I need to try to like. Hang on. There we go. I had a big demoralizing play. So yeah, literally everyone at this tournament, when they saw my triple Mutalith Vortex Beast list, was like, what the actual hell? What is this nonsense?
So instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who acted. Being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of
I'm not super excited about Nightmare. I actually just swung out and bought some Underworld stuff today because the store near me had it on 30% off and I wanted more boards. My issue is like I'm actually okay. So if GW keeps putting the rules out because they're like, hey, we want you to have the rules so you can just play. I heard Nightmare was hard to pre-order too, so congratulations to anyone that managed to pre-order it. Let me quickly do something that I noticed a second ago. I gotta ask my buddy if he's getting it, because if he's getting it and he doesn't want, because he'd be getting it for the Mandrakes for his Dark Eldar. And then I'd probably snag the Night Lords off of him. But like I was planning, because they'll probably release the rules like straight up. Let me get the brass out. And if they release the rules straight up, then it's kind of like I sort of want to do the overview video as a joke. Like I really wish friggin' April Fools lined up a little better for this, because I would have started the video to be like, let's take a look at the Night Lords, and then I would have just used my frickin' my Legionary team, but I would have like for at least a few minutes or at least a couple seconds or something kept going like I was talking about the Night Lords. Like I would show their stats and stuff, and then I would show the Legionary models I have that are all Iron Warrior. Alright, this is more comfortable. And the whole premise would be like, look, the models are basically the same between the Legionary team and the Night Lords, which is actually really a boon to new players who are like, I want to play Night Lords. You have, if you play Night Lords, 2 teams you can play. Like, easily. You can play 2 teams. If you don't like whatever the Night Lords do with their extra stealthiness, right? Play Legionary. They're not as stealthy. They're straightforward. Like, there's nothing too underhanded about them. I mean, they're just durable and you can do stuff. Congratulations, you can play Legionary. Oh, you want to go stealthy again for, like, the next tournament or the next game you're about to play? Go back to Night Lords. Why not? I think the bases are the same size. Like, just do it. So you've got double team. You've got 2 possible options that you can play, which is actually really cool. I found people who got in the queue to order it, got to the front of the line, put the order in, clicked checkout, had the money go through, and then had Games Workshop send them, hey, your order was canceled because it didn't go through. But then, like, they still got charged for it. And, like, hasn't gotten their money back yet. So it's, there's some stuff going on. Some shenanigans that people are getting really mad at. It's impossible. They, like, honestly, GW, I realize people don't have stores near them, like, all the time. But GW really needs to start leaning on locals again to try to, like, make the sales for them. Because, like, if you want, like, a better time for the people playing your game, make it so that, like, scalpers and stuff and people who try to mass purchase things just for the hell of it, like, it doesn't really affect much. Like, maybe you order online and it's like, hey, sold out, sorry, check your local. And you're like, no, but then you check your local and they're like, oh, dude, yeah. Like, for a while there was this sense that, like, GW pre-orders were actually, they were actually a little bit more focused on the idea that, like, you could, if you wanted to, order through a local store, because the local stores were getting, like, different stock. Like, they had 2 warehouses, or at least 2 stock listings. So, like, general public could purchase, you know, X amount of stuff from the GW site. What's up, Thiago? And then, like, once that was all sold out, you know, everyone's happy. Hey, we made a lot of money. Congratulations. But then, like, you could go to a store and be like, hey, I want to order through you guys. And the store would be like, oh, yeah, different warehouse. Tons of product. And then they slowly trickle over, like, a little bit of time, the warehouse product from the local stores into the main store, so that way they can get it all sold out, like, super quick. I imagine the fear, though, is that, I mean, a lot of this is FOMO, right? Like, a lot of the purchasing of models right now comes from FOMO. Oh, I really want the Mandrakes. Oh, I really want the Night Lords, and they're gonna be sold out, and I'm not gonna be able to get them for like a year. Huge FOMO stuff. What's up, Arturo? What's cool about this camera is it is placed in a perfect position. So I'm gonna come back tomorrow and clean a lot of what's going on over here. Like there's a lot of disorganization right now that I need to get rid of. But I'm gonna come back over. I'm gonna clean up most of this. And on Thursday, I could literally turn this camera around, zoom it in on my airbrush table, and just airbrush. And you guys should actually get good video of me airbrushing, because it'll be in like a good position. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. I want to do a checkerboard. Where do I want to do the checkerboard? The grenade head. I feel like I'm doing the checkerboards too small. There's really nowhere else to do it though. But yeah, like I could technically, if they released the rules publicly like they've been doing with most of their rules, I could just use my Legionary as like a joke video. I do think I want to try to do a team overview video with one of the teams that I don't have on hand, just to like test the waters. See how people respond to it. Mostly it'll be like cutouts and like little animated skits that go on while I'm talking about the units. So it'll still take a lot of production for me to like put that together, get the cutouts all together, get some scenery built in. Go from there. They're all difficult, man. My videos are difficult to make. I try to make them easier. This last one, the overview video, was actually really good because it was quick. It didn't really make me have to do too much to get it out there for you guys, which is good. I like that because that means I could do more info videos down the line if I can get into the habit of just checking the news and then doing a video. Because I see everyone doing the whole AOS thing as videos and putting it forward, and I get it. I just think my end of talking about it is a little difficult because, like, I'd have to make sure that whatever I'm about to say in that video is, it's like, yes, it sucks that GW was like, hey, we're getting rid of hundreds of models. Absolutely, and I don't want to like belittle the anger of people who are like, those are the only models I've purchased for that army because those were the only models that interested me. And it's like, holy crap, that sucks. I don't want to, at the same time, I don't want to put forward the idea of like, oh, they're probably going to be doing new models that maybe can be represented by them. Like, I don't know if they're going to do that. Like, I don't know if anyone saw the subreddit post of a guy who was like, well, my army is no longer valid. And he posted all the Stormcast models he purchased. Like, he literally just finished painting them. That guy's a local. That guy's one of the guys in my local group. Like, that post blew up. He didn't post them there either. Like, it was someone else that, I think it was like a news story that's, oh no, he posted it up on Reddit and then someone took it and used it as a news story for AOS. So like, yeah, it 100% sucks. Cause he was getting ready for it, man. Our local group's been picking up more and more into AOS because we've been getting a little more interested in it. A lot of us have bought a ton of stuff because of the last event they ran, the Scalefang Isles or whatever, Slitherfang or something. So a lot of us had armies, and then when they were like, hey, season or 4.0 is coming, we were all like, yeah. And now they're like, by the way, no. Like, hopefully those models can be stand-ins. That is one of the fun things about friggin' the hobby, is you can buy stuff, and as long as it's like kind of the same silhouette and the same base size, you could be like, hey, by the way, this is this Griffin. I know it's the old model that they turned into Legend, but it has the same silhouette, the same everything as this thing over here, so I'm just using it as that. Dude, I have no idea what's going to happen with Middle-earth. I never see news about it, but I know Games Workshop is probably hyper happy that they have the rights to making that game because it's a very recognizable brand. So, like, it's one of those things where I think if they kill it or they set it aside for too long and don't, like, do anything with it, there's a chance that the rights to making the tabletop game with it might go away, might get taken from them. So there's a chance that they might just be doing it at a loss or at a bare minimum where maybe they just break even and they're just holding it for, like, pride, right? Because that's a big brand. The idea that you would give up on a brand that size just because it's not doing well, when maybe down the line there's this massive surge of people who are like, oh, dude, Middle-earth and Tabletop Tactics? And then next thing you know, like 40K and AOS and all the other games take a back seat to the sheer amount of income. We're gonna fix that a little bit too. Just outright like pops up and is like, hey, we're making all the money now. And they're like, yeah, we were on the ground floor. Like, there's a chance that happens. A chance. So, no, yeah, there was definitely a big thing. I know one of my local stores was pushing it really hard, and there were people usually in the front of the store. Like, this doesn't happen often. There were people in the front of the store playing it. Like, they had a table set up and everything to constantly be like, hey guys, are you super into the Lord of the Rings? You want to play a tabletop game? Spend all your money, you know? And then, like, I feel like that's now their smallest section on that wall. Get this darkened up a little bit. I want it to be brass. I actually kind of want to darken up the weapon bronze as well on here. I want it to feel a little dingier. Pew pew. No, yeah, they've got a team too. PlayOn's got like the group and the funding. I'd love to get to that point, but I feel like you got to be like on the ground floor. Like they were some of the first. I wouldn't mind when me moving around and stuff settles down here soon. Figuring out a way to set up like a decent spot to record here. And just maybe doing like seasonal tournaments of things. Like just running games of just being like, all right, between 5 players, we're gonna do sort of like a bracketed, you know, round robin into a finals match. Best records of the top players, like the top 4 players, play off for the final round. The final like 3 rounds that would be, I guess. Because to do that as well as they do that, you need basically a really good like studio. Because oh my god, having a table that huge with enough cameras built around it, where all you gotta do is hit record, and then you'll have like all the angles to shift to. Because it's also a timing thing. Almost every YouTuber that's done battle reports has eventually come to the conclusion of just like, I have to spend how much time doing this? But if you have multiple angles, it's not that bad. I've also noticed that PlayOn Tabletop, they do something I've been trying to do or trying to get together, which is here, let me. We still have to remember. That we still have to do the airbrushing. Now, the goal of the airbrushing is to make the barrels look hot, as well as making the orange on their base actually look like it's glowing outward. That's a big thing. Between me and my friends, I was thinking of doing like us talking while playing, but with my close friends, there's not a lot of like, when we're playing, a lot of it's dead silence, and we don't. In the last couple of games I've played with them, I try to do banter, but the banter is usually like me saying something, and then one of them's like, mm-hmm. And then like they're hyper focused on the game, because it's a very high, like, you need to pay attention game if you want to try to win and you want to try to achieve your goals and be prepared to do things in the game to make adjustments. So like they're just like, yep, and it's like, okay, we got no banter. Me and my group has no banter. We have 0 banter. Oh, I thank you. Hopefully the mixer is helping a little bit. I need to get more padding in this room though, because I watch back occasionally and I hear the echo that pops up because there's only some furniture. It's not as bad with the echo as it used to be, but I still gotta get some stuff together over here to cut down on echo. I have a boatload of foam padding that I was thinking of putting up in some spots on the room. could you imagine just paint ASMR? Just like, hey, how's it going, guys? We're painting real quick. We're just doing all the fun little.
You say I make you nervous. A tragedy.
It like if it wasn't for people in this house, the other renters who were like stomping around occasionally, I could easily see getting like a shotgun mic and like trying to hyper focus the shotgun mic on the model so that you can hear like the bristles against it. Just being like ASMR stream.
You think I would look pretty on your arm once you cover up my bruises and battle scars.
You guys are sitting there just hearing the like the bristles going back and forth.
Can't bear the things I've had to face. Got you crying on your knees in pain. Oh, some things never change, never change. You'll break your back.
Which honestly, if you think about it, friggin' Bob Ross, massive, like almost ASMR streamer before his time. Like ahead of the curve, is good to go. Because if you ever watch back to the Bob Ross videos where he did this all the time, where he just did painting, you'll notice that, like, of course he talks really soft and he's like, hey, so we're gonna put some happy little trees over here. Like he's got that like that southern kind of like voice feeling to him, but then when he applies the paint, because of his method and like how hard he is on the surface of the canvas, you hear the bristles, and it's always just like and it's got that like repetitive, like just light ASMR feeling. And I'm pretty sure no one in that studio knew that that's what they were doing, like passively. They thought it was just like, oh, we got the balance going. Hey, let's make it so that they can hear the brush strokes. That's cool. We did it. Meanwhile, everyone out there is like, why is this so soothing? In the early episodes of the Bob Ross show, which I'm trying to remember what it was actually called. Because it had a different name. He would listen to jazz. Like, there'd be jazz playing in the background, which when I was starting up over here is what I would play as well. But like the jazz was so soft. I'm gonna beat the devil out of it. Technically, off to the side, I do have got one of these that has the metal coil in it. So I do, when I'm brushing, beat the devil out of it. Or I guess in these terminologies, we exorcise chaos from it.
Are you scared?
We purge the enemy.
I am you.
Okay, so I'm gonna be doing everything in my power. Recently, I just bought the starter set for Age of Sigmar, or not Age of Sigmar, for Underworlds, because yeah, I wanted more boards. It means I have another set of dice as well, which is good. Have other people play and have their own set of dice and not have to use mine.
I'm coming closer. I will catch you. The time it goes tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Dude, if this was Twitch. I did used to stream on Twitch, but like no one would. I think only like one or two people would show up for like the year and a half I was streaming on Twitch. So again, thank you all for actually popping in. This is awesome over here.
Are you scared?
The whole thing was, the reason I still am just like, man, I wish this worked on Twitch, was because of how they handle copyright for music. The whole, like, the bots that report on whether or not you're listening to copywritten music is all related to whether or not the VOD has copywritten music in it. That's all. So, since the VODs are written live, that's how the bots would see it. And then people realized you could set up the multi-audio channel so that the VOD doesn't get the music. So we could literally, right now on Twitch, have been sitting here just jamming out to friggin' melodic death metal or any of like the other heavy metal stuff that I listen to. Because believe me, I want to be listening to metal. But the metal music for free on YouTube, not great. Not that good. Not amazing. No, yeah. The algorithm has done better on YouTube, I think. Although I will say the community on YouTube is very hit or miss as to whether or not it's going to be good. I know people who have started on Twitch and have grown like great communities. And then when Twitch opened up and was like, hey, you can stream to YouTube now too, we don't care. They were like, oh, excellent, let me do that. And they started up friggin' YouTube channels and got all that done real quick to make sure they could stream and get all that going. And then they did it, and it's just nothing but people who are like basically hating on them. Like, it is a weird place. And it's one of those things that feels a little cultish too, because like I hear a lot from like the YouTube community, like, oh, we're a better community than over there on Twitch, and I'm like, dude, I've seen both communities. They're all horrible. There's not a single community I will point to and go, yeah, they're amazing through and through. No. Wrong. They're all bad, man. Everything has maximum capacity for being garbage. Oh, dude, Insomnium, I listen to them all the time. Like, it's one of my top bands. I've got vinyl here of Insomnium albums, like old and new. I actually bought a whole vinyl system and like decent audio sound system so that I can have days where I'm over here just chilling and getting work done, and I've just got like the record on. And I'm jamming out, I'm having fun. That's all I want. Technically, this shouldn't be glowing orange. Yeah, instead, we're kind of limited to the free music YouTube has access to, because I haven't found a service that I'd have to pay for the rights to listen to the music on stream and leave it in my videos. I haven't found a service that I have to pay for that I've been like, yeah, this will work. This will be fine. This will end well. What is this? Oh, I know this. This sounds like a theme in Played Up. I mean, I can pull up the metal playlist that YouTube has and go through it real quick, because it's literally like 10 songs. I might paint his helmet a color. I don't like the solid metal helmets like this. I kind of did some paint ups on the other one's helmet. Try to make it more interesting. We're going to do a handle color, which is actually going to be different than that, the leather we did originally. I feel like I'm letting the store's dreams die if I don't show up for the paint night tonight. But at the same time, if I'm the only one that shows up to tonight's paint night, dreams are dead anyway. He's probably gonna just stop doing it. Because if it's one person, there's no reason. I think Chaos is metal, definitely. I think Orcs are metal, actually, too. Chaos and Orcs, man. 'Cause I know the Orcs have that one, like, side-scroller shooter game. And the side-scroller shooter game, like, when you finish it, it's just orcs playing metal songs. I feel like the metal band the orcs have would be called Flash Gits or something. Thank you, Cleveland. We are Flash Gits. The one thing making me not want to play orcs right now as like a 40k army is the hope. The hope and the dream that the Emperor's children are about to get their own freaking codex. Not even lying. That's why I want to hold off picking up like an orc army. Cause like I feel like I'm right there, right? Like every time I look at the orcs as a faction, I always have that moment of like, I could really play this. I would greatly enjoy just playing orcs. Just rolling the dice to see how crazy things get versus how bad things get. Which, by the way, I definitely chalk up my losses, not just to like the small strategic issues I had, like kind of early on in the rounds and stuff for that tournament. I highly chalk them up to just like how much my dice rolls peter out. Like, I was attacking people with much the same statistics, right? like, I had 5+ invulns on everything. So did a lot of my enemies. And I would attack my enemies with their 5+ invulns. They would make all of their 5+ invulns. Even with, like, volume of fire that I was shooting at them with, 5+ invulns were going through. They were like, yeah, just, I made my saves. And it's like, and then they'd shoot back at me with the same, like, quantity of stuff. And I'd be like, alright, well, hopefully this works. And I'd roll the dice, and nope. Oh, well, what's that? I just have to make 3 5+ saves? Okay, here we go. At least, hopefully I get like 1 or 2. Oh, I got 0. I got 0. Let me burn my 1 free armor save reroll from my Cabal points that I spent at the beginning of the round. And, oh, look, still bad. And then they would roll super well on, like, the D6 damage line, and it's just like, man, I can't catch a break. It's impossible! Although I did several times in this tournament, my opponent command point rerolled on, like, 2 pluses to hit or 2 pluses to save. Like, he'd be like, alright, it's a 2+ to save. I'd be like, alright. He'd roll a 1 and he would go, oh, I'm definitely spending a command point on this. And then he re-rolled it into a 1 and I was like, it's happened! The curse! It's real! Like, the Sisters player I went up against lost some pretty serious units because of, like, re-rolling 1s into 1s. He was like, no. It was great. I mean, I definitely had fun. I'm not gonna say I didn't have fun. I just really wish I rolled better. Because I would just play, I think the Thousand Suns are, I have an idea for them. And it's an idea that I don't know is gonna work. Like, I don't think I needed the Shaman the way I had them. I honestly think I'm actually leaning more into just rocking Exalted on disc, right? Because the trick is, Shaman give the 5+ feel no pain to the squad, but the squad has a 6+ invuln. So, like, and they're toughness 4, so, like, anything shoots them, they're taking their feel no pains. I can almost guarantee you that. The 6+ invuln's not saving them. So, when I was, like, looking into it and trying to figure out, like, fun stuff... What color should we make his face mask, by the way? I think we go red, right? Nah, the missiles are red. Let's go orange. No, he's glowing orange. Oh, no. Let's do... His eyes are going to be glowing green. Let's do a gray. Let's just do the blue-gray. So, I've been... so, like... I'm already having issues taking the damage. I feel like the unit doesn't give me enough Cabal points to be worth it. So, for almost the same cost of that full squad, which, yeah, the full squad's useful. So it's a whole squad of people. I'm not gonna say it won't be useful. But, like, the trick is if I take the Exalted Sorcerer on disc, he has almost the same exact wound count, and he has a 4+ invuln. And he actually, I believe, moves faster than that squad. That squad's limited to 10, and I think he has a 12. He also has, in my opinion, one of the best, like, odd spells in the game. Right? because Exalted Sorcerers are the ones that can have a unit's movement, charge, and advance roll. Which I really want to play against the Necron player who has all those Catan. And I genuinely want to just make sure I'm constantly spending some of my Cabal points. Because now my army has like almost 20 Cabal points. And he has a free one from... I have a free one from Ahriman. Which, because I'm using a Hellbrute as well, if the Hellbrute's near Ahriman when he uses the free one, I actually go up a Cabal point. Which is... it's a fun little combo. So, I think, like, literally opening turn against a Necron player who has, like, the Catanan, I can just fly one of my Exalted Sorcerers over to within 18 inches of it, and then hit it with, like, the having its move speed, charge speed, because those things are slow. So, like, just to be like, hey, by the way, you're going to need to roll a 6 in order to move your normal distance and then fly away. Like, because you use it at the end of the move phase, and then at the beginning of the shooting phase, you would use Temporal Shift to make that unit move 12 inches somewhere else. Just, whee! Just off he goes. I don't know. I love the idea. I love the idea of being like that guy. Just a little bit of an asshole. Because then even if he uppy downies, or if they have access to that at the end of my phase, wherever they downy at, it's got to be outside of 9 inches. Which means they can't charge. Because you have to charge to a maximum of 12. And you can't roll higher than a 6. So, like, I love that. I love that about this army. I really do. Is I can just be like, oh, what's your plan? Here, let me counter it for you real quick. Here, let me stop that. Let me make it so you can't do that. I think the issue... Okay, so I built this list around the Abominant for my Abominant trick. We're going to try it out on Wednesday, see how it feels. If it feels terrible, I'm probably not going to take it to the tournament next month, which is a 4-player team tournament. So that'll be kind of cool. The green I put down already dry? How is that even possible? I gotta see how this all feels. Worst case scenario, I just like throw my hands in the air and I go Chaos Knights. I genuinely think going Blue Horrors though, at least taking maybe 2 squads of them, if not more. Like maybe I figure out if I need to get 2 more squads of Blue Horrors. Although I think 2 Blue Horrors and 1 Changeling is probably good enough, honestly. I don't really feel the desire to get more than that in a list. I feel like that toolbox is actually really good for Knights. I just got to figure out how to use it. Because the weakness of Knights is that you can't always go to the place you want to be at for your mission. So you have to kind of make missions work for you in a way, and I feel like a lot of Knights players rely on, you know, outside help in the form of like deep striking units or scouting units or infiltrator units to try to like manipulate where things are on the field. And I feel like I don't have that. Although I have, it's a little bit enjoyable to see more and more Knights players run like 2 to 3 large Knights. That's been pretty cool. Put some joy back in my tank since I have. Right now I have 4 large Knights to pick from. And I know War Dog spam is super good, but like, hell yeah. Checkerboard helmet. Might even checkerboard some of the missiles. Definitely got a weapon bronze. Some of these bullets though. There's 2 bullets on his backpack. Reasons unknown. Doesn't even have a pistol on his character. So I guess the eclipse is in just under an hour. I don't care. Brass some of his helmet components here. What are we thinking? What's the over-under on the eclipse being the end times? I know everyone's been freaking out online. I know, right? Like Patton Oswalt once said, don't you want to be the person who lived through the end times? Don't you just want to be the guy that was there to be like, oh, I did it. I made it to the end. like we're actually getting through these quite quickly. It's good. I wouldn't mind doing a commando overview video, so having these on hand would be nice. Oh, saved. All right, Liren. People eating dinner already. You overseas people. I'm really hoping this abominant idea works. Because I'm unsure. I'm like, it might work, it might not. I don't know. I just have no clue. What color do I want this wire to be? Let's go with... No, it's too close to their flesh tone. Ooh, I know. Oh, no, not Wizard Orb. We'll start with Angel Green. Someone's talking in the chat with the painting. Too poor. How much and what time? It's free. If you don't have anything to work on and you want to come out and be social, you're welcome. People usually get here around 5 or 6. It's free? Yeah, you bring any projects you're working on, we just hang out and get our projects done. Wish I wasn't closing. Sounds like literally no one's gonna go. Oh, no. I don't want to, like, I wish Paint Night worked. I do. I wish people were like, yeah, Paint Night. But it is not looking good. Alright, let's checkerboard the missile as well. people who can't go to paint night because gas is too expensive for their car. Oh god. Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna. I don't know if paint night's lasting at this place. Hell yeah. Checkerboarding. Nerve-wracking, but also enjoyable. Alright, Arturo. No, everyone's leaving me. I'm gonna be alone. Only my inner thoughts to keep me company, and I don't like those. Hell yeah. Coming at you, checkerboard style. I got a feeling that the amount of effort that I'd have to put into the combo that I'm looking to do with my Abominant is probably going to make me not enjoy this list I'm about to play. I feel like probably the big issue with it to me is it does really feel like a gotcha, right? Like, it's one of those things where I should probably inform the person I'm playing with. Be like, hey, by the way, the purpose of this army, and I get a lot of people say in tournament play, your opponents should know these things. So there isn't really a reason for you to be like, hey, let me explain to you my list's stuff. Because their hope is that you don't need that, I guess. That you'll just be able to, you know, like, play and have fun. Get stuff, you know, done and all that. But, like, at the same time, it does feel kind of like I'm trying to screw someone over with this list by just being like, hey, Let me not tell you the secret. I'm gonna hit you with the secret instead. Forgot to paint all of his fingernails and everything. Not that bad though. There's really not a lot of fingernails that need to get painted on them. Teeth though, definitely. Same thing with this guy though. Definitely fingernails here. It kind of is, but it's one of those things in my head where I'm like, sportsmanship, is it okay? Because, like, in my mind, right, like, I think kind of like an FGC player. I have a lot in my brain that's just like, yo, how would this kind of like feel in that bracket of sportsmanship? Right? I think it'll be okay. I think people will be okay with it kind of popping up. But like in a lot of FGC concepts, the trick is when there's a new character out, it feels like the only reason you're playing the new character is because people don't have practice against it. Like that's just a thing. That's a general feeling. So like when a new character drops in Street Fighter and there's a tournament shortly after, and someone at that tournament is just using them, right? They're just immediately using them. There's no downtime. There's no like time in between to allow people to like figure out how they work. No, it's just you're using it. The main thing people feel is that you're using it literally because no one knows how to fight it yet. And that you're hoping your general knowledge of the character is going to be enough to carry you to the end of the tournament. Right? Nobody knows how Abominants play because no one uses Abominants because everyone says they're horrible. So for me to put an Abominant on the table is going to have someone look at it and go, oh, you're just using it? And it's like, sure. Sure. Do I describe to them? Am I like, all right, so something you need to be afraid of. The guys standing near the Mutalith Vortex Beast, if they can see your unit within 36 inches of them, can shut your armor off. This thing has a 30-inch range, and now that I can tow it into terrain, I can actually just move it slightly into buildings, see over them, and shoot things that are 30 inches within range of it with his Volkite Cannon. The Volkite Cannon has a lot of shots, a lot of strength, a lot of damage, no AP. But the guys who are within range of the MVB, again, 36 inches, can shut your armor off. So I don't need you to have armor. I don't need you to have good armor. I don't need to worry about that. I don't need to worry about getting my dev wounds on this thing. I'm just going to shut your armor off and then shoot you with it, and it's going to kill stuff. This thing should easily be able to kill a tank that doesn't have like a good invulnerable. This thing should easily, because it's strength 12. The average tank and monster right now is either T10 or T11. This is what the tournament taught me that I just played at. T10, T11. Those are the numbers you need to keep in your mind. T12 is like peak performance with like some of the biggest high-end stuff in the game. So like that's where kind of the bracketing ends, and this gun is T12, is strength 12, so it can still do work against knights, and I can still shut knight main armor off. They'll get their invulnerables, that's great, but I don't think they're gonna just want their invuls against this thing. They would probably much rather have their full saves. And on top of it, I'll still have an MVB, which if you get within 20 something inch range of the MVB, you're not going to have a good time. MVBs are actually pretty good as like defensive monsters. I feel like the music stopped. So like, there's something to it where I'm like, yeah, this will be hilarious, but at the same time, it's like maybe I should have like a write up, right? Let me get my music going again. I should get a write up together, and when I'm about to play against someone, let's actually start with this. When I'm about to play against someone, maybe I like hand them the paper to be like, hey, this is the combo I'm trying, so that you know what to expect. And maybe you can create in your head a way to crack that. But like, I think I'm okay with it because I've watched tournaments online, and I feel like even during tournaments, the people playing, like these actual people going to like 150 or something man tournaments, right? Even then, they're like, oh, I didn't expect that. I'm like, oh, okay. It's probably not that bad. It's probably a common thing that just happens. I have to assume my opponent actually might not know how to deal with what I'm about to throw at them, and that they're going to try and learn and adapt to it. Because there's this general consensus, it seems, in tournaments that when you build your list, you're building your list to... Why is there no paint in here? You're building your list to do something specific. Okay. That was not what I wanted. You're building your list to do something specific, right? And regardless of what your opponent has on the field, you're probably not going to change your strat that much. Because you're supposed to be doing the missions. That's it. You have your units that need to go to the point. You have your units that need to perform the side missions. You've designed your list to handle that. So it's business as usual. See how it pans out. See how it deals with the problems that are presented to you. And then it's just dice rolls to see what happens. Game over. I feel like this list played into most people with how they expect things to go is going to do better because it's going to force me to not just rush up. That was probably the biggest issue I had with the MVBs. I needed to maneuver them in such a way where my opponent wouldn't be able to fully fire at them. Like, this was an issue. I rushed all my MVBs out against the Imperial Knights player. I blew up his Canis Rex in one turn. Dead. I was like, wow, that was cool. He was like, that sucked. I was like, I don't know. Dice rolls, my guy. All single dice. And I just rolled the best I've rolled all day. So that happened. But then all my Mutilate Vortex Beasts were literally just standing in the open. Because like there was no terrain in the middle for the most part for me to hide those things behind. And then he was like, okay. And then he moved his 2 autocannon regular knights out, moved his battle cannon knight up, and just went to town. His battle cannon knight and 1 autocannon knight killed 1 Mutilith. His other autocannon knight took the other Mutilith down to next to nothing. And then he, in that same turn, uppy downied his... It's like a Castellan. It's the one with the frickin' harpoon gun. He uppy downied the harpoon gun, and then... like with that finished the other Mutilith, and I think he killed one of my Forge Fiends. Like it was not good. Like so much of my stuff died in one turn. I was like, yeah, Canis Rex, and he was like, oh my god, I'm so worried, and then killed half my stuff, and he was like, oh, okay, this isn't that bad. It's like, no. It was literally because his rolls were god tier and mine were so bad. I couldn't roll a 5+ to save my life that whole tournament, either for the invulnerable or for the feel no pains. Like I was like, all right, 20 feel no pains. Yeah, no 5s. Really? Across 20 dice, 0 5+s, 0. That's what happened. I feel like for all 3 of the games I played, because all my stuff in the list I took has feel no pains, except like 1 or 2 things. So I was there. And I was like, all right, let's see how this works. And I feel like in every game, my opponent would maybe, into my Feel No Pain units, put like 100 damage every game into them. And I would at most negate like 5. Which, that is not the statistic correct thing for that. Nowhere near the correct statistic for what should have happened in every single one of those games. But it's what happened. It was literally just like, here's 100 damage. What do you mitigate? 5. It's like, all right. I got nothing. I wish I did, but I did not. I think this guy's basically done. I think I'm okay with him. We can maybe do this back part in brass. I've thought of them, but I mean it won't change anything. Dice towers don't increase the percentage. If I were a superstitious man, and I'm not saying I'm not, I feel like everyone has a built-in version of luck, right? Like you'll have like a type of luck. And I gotta say, over the years of playing Warhammer back in the day with 4th and 5th, or 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and now coming back into 10th edition, I feel like my luck's the same with dice. Like, it's weird. Like, scientifically speaking, it should just even out over time, and it's like, yeah, I get that. But, like, if I were to describe to you the way I roll, what the hell? Why do they put this so high up? Is there a way for me to make this not appear on the list? No. No, there is not. So yeah, like almost every round of fire into a Mutalith Vortex Beast, right? Mutalith Vortex Beasts have 4+ saves, which is horrible for a monster, but they have 5+ invulns, right? So what he would do is he was like, all right, let me fire my autocannons, and he rolled godly on those autocannons because they were 3+ normal to hit, and then he had the one big knight near them that increased the hit rate by 1 for whatever the bondsman stuff is. So all of those things had a +1 to hit. So he was hitting with autocannons on 2s, which is incredible when you consider the horrible alternative that the chaos version of those knights get, which fully understandable. We have brigands. They do not. So I fully understand that. But it's the brigand variant of the one armiger is the executioner, which hits on 3s normally and only gets the +1 to hit if the enemy is below half strength, which pretty garbage if you think about it. But like, even with that, he was firing at me with the 8 attacks, and he was just like, I'm getting all hits. Like, he was just all hits, and I was like, okay, great. And then he was just like, all wounds, which is crazy when you think about it, because it's a strength 9 weapon against a toughness 10 unit, so he had to roll 5s, and he was like, out of 8 attacks, 7 would go through on 5+, and I was like, wow, that was crazy. Which means I'm rolling my 5+ invuln, so 7 dice, 5+, I'd get 1. I'm like, okay, great. And then you have 6 dice, 3 damage a pop. So, you know. So, like, 18 damage. So I'm rolling 18 dice, and I get, like, 2 more 5s. And then that's it. It's just like, hey, you got hit with 16 damage on your unit that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, has less than that in health. Yeah, 13 wounds. Oh, it hurt so bad. Every single time I did it. Every single time I rolled those dice and didn't see any 5s or 6s pop up, I was just like, I don't know what to do now. Like, the mitigation in my head, percentage-wise, parsing his numbers, I should easily survive most anything I get thrown at me for at least a turn. Those Mutalith Vortex Beasts should have survived the first turn. I have watched them weather Melta-heavy teams for the first turn. I have watched them weather Knights for a turn. No problem. Walk out the other side, not even bracketed. But, like, definitely in a way where I'm like, I've got one more turn with them and they're dead. But no, this guy killed 2 of them instantly, and one of my Forge Fiends. Just dead. And then I tried to rush up the field with Magnus to wipe out his Castellan. Because I watched Magnus melt a squad and a tank in a single turn. And I was like, I'm going to dump everything from him into you to try to kill your Castellan. I took his Castellan to like 3 wounds. And then he turned around and harpooned Magnus for like almost his whole health bar. Because I am still not used to threat ranges. I should have asked how far the harpoon shot is, because I remember the harpoon shot is limited. Oh no, dude. Human beings are risk-reward creatures. We love that shit. We absolutely love that shit. We don't get enough of it anymore. The risk-reward function. We don't get enough of it in our daily lives, like, at all. So we try to find it in other places. Casinos, tabletop games, video games, anywhere. So necessary. Let's do the But that's the thing. I'm saying, like, if someone has my superstition, my personal, like, built-in, like, this can't be how it is, but this is how I believe it is kind of thing for how dice roll and luck for individuals works. I feel like my luck is tuned to be moments of greatness next to massive swaths of just worthlessness. And what I mean by that is, so I'll roll really poorly in a game. All my saves won't work. Everybody will die like super fast. But like in that Imperial Knights game, 3 Mutalith Vortex Beasts will all shoot 1 Canis Rex with a single shot attack. 2 of them will end up being devastating wounds. 1 of them will be a regular, which he'll fail as an invulnerable save. And then all 3 of them will roll no less than 5 for their damage rolls, which from the Mutalith Vortex Beasts means 11 damage, 12 damage, 12 damage. That's what killed it in 1 turn. I shot nothing else at that Canis Rex than those 3 shots and immediately killed it. These are 3 pluses to hit, by the way, which you're probably like, that's easy. I've watched so many games at my store that I hang out at where people will be like, hey, my Predator Annihilator with its 3 las cannons are going to fire all of its 3+ to hit las cannons at you and whiff everything. And then roll, and then do a single command point reroll and whiff the reroll. Like, I've seen it so much where I'm like, oh, Jesus. And then for that to happen and me being like, yeah, and then to like not roll good for the rest of the game, it's like, oh, this is the downturn from that. And it's the same thing with just like in general. I fought one of the local players who has a really good Necron army. Like, he's a really good Necron army. And he was trying out a monolith build for the teleporty Necrons. He was like, I'm just going to try the monolith build. His monolith came down, and my Desecrator shot at it. And again, the Desecrator, Chaos Knight Desecrator, which is what I was rocking at the back line for this game. Yeah, let me hit you with the stats. So got the Monolith in line of sight. Monolith had cover, doesn't matter because it's AP4. So he activated his 4+ invuln, right? Oh, dude, the Apprentice is gonna work. He's gonna do so much work. So the Desecrator, Las Cannon, Destructor, 3 attacks, 2+ to hit, which I had. So all hit, perfect, great. He's firing at a vehicle, so dev wounds. So strength 18 into the Monolith, which is like less in toughness to my understanding, but let me just double check. Toughness 13. So I needed 3s to wound it. I rolled 2 6s and a 5. So dev wounds were active because it's a vehicle. So 2 of them went to dev, 1 of them did not. So he had a 4+ invulnerable against the one that didn't. He rolled a 3, and then he re-rolled it for a command point and rolled a 2. So 3 hits went through. I rolled all 6s for the damage. I picked up 3 dice and went, all right, here's the damage, and just rolled it because it's 3 shots into 1 unit. No matter what happens, like, it doesn't matter. I don't need to slow roll it. So let me just roll the 3 dice, all 6s, which means 9 damage apiece. Yeah, I gibbed his Monolith in one go. For the rest of the game, I couldn't seem to do anything. I ran this Knight Desecrator with his friggin' Warp Strike Claw into the Wraith that were coming at him. I rolled the 8 attacks, strength 10, AP 2, damage 3 against him. Literally whiffed everything on a like 3+ to hit. I whiffed all but like 1 attack, which I then proceeded to roll a 1/4 for the wound. And it's like, oh man, I wasted my luck. I mean, it wasn't like a waste because that's kind of badass what I did, but like at the same time, it was kind of a waste. But yeah, no, the Apprentice 3 APL and Kill Team, it's so good. They've been needing that, man. They've definitely been needing that. Because they were the only command unit in that army that didn't feel like a command unit. So it's good to see them get the advantage. Is the music over? Music's over. Oh no, music's over. Hierotek and Warp Coven, which is good because Hierotek and Warp Coven now play very close to each other, and I like that play style, and I have both teams. Because Warp Coven, like Hierotek, get 3 leader units on the field. All those leader units tend to be really good individually. You can kind of customize them in the ways that you want them to play. You have to pre-pick spells and abilities. Those spells and abilities now last until the next time the unit goes or until the next time the spell is used. So, like, there's a lot of connection. The main units of the Hierotek have a lot of AP on their function. They have a lot of damage output on, like, fairly basic weaponry. It's the same thing with Warp Coven. Warp Coven get bolter shots that have built-in AP1s, and unlike the Necron, which only have APL 2 units, Warp Coven has the ability to easily access APL 3 foot soldiers with double shoot. So the bolter wielders can move and double shoot with really decent damage AP1 weapons. The Soul Reaper can sit still or be teleported to a new spot and then double shoot. It's the same. Okay, so the issue is, and a lot of the more competitive players will bring this up with you. And I think the biggest thing that no one's talking about is that Resurrect happens on a 2+ now. Like that's actually massive. The RNG chance of getting a Resurrect off is way higher than it was, and you actually really want that. Especially since the Resurrect is almost like the whole health to a single unit, like right away. It's just too good. I actually think they might rein the Resurrect healing in a little bit afterwards. But they were bad because you have to assume that the units on the field have to do things, right? Like they have to achieve goals, they have to do missions. And if you're spending in close quarters, if you're spending action points to go through doors, but you can't really go into the room yet because you're 2 APL, So like if you open the door and you move in and you just get shot at for whatever reason, like it's bad. It's just a whole thing. And you can't play around with your APL enough to do mission actions while proceeding to protect yourself. You don't have enough bodies on the field to use fodder. You have to protect the plasma sites a lot because plasma sites are some of your key mission doers. Like ever since they made it so the plasma sites don't waste APL anymore by just doing things in general, the speed plasma site, that's free now. That's incredible. The resurrection plasma site, that just happens without applying a minus to that unit. That's incredible. That's just really good. That's all really, really good. It's just before they didn't have the APL. You had, on that team, you had two choices during a game. Did you want to A, kill your opponent, or B, win the game? And if you didn't choose kill your opponent, you wouldn't win the game. Because your opponent would overwhelm you, and then that's it. So it was like, the situation was just not great, passively, for higher tech players. You didn't have enough APL to deal with oncoming threats. A lot of your efforts were put onto your leader, and your leader was like overwhelmed at all times. It was not an easy thing to play at all. And it was the same issue with the Warp Coven, which is why the Warp Coven changed it so that the warrior soldier units have 3 APL passively. It was because you could literally, if I put a warrior on a point to capture it, at the end of the round, you could, if you had a 3 APL army, you could just run that squad onto that point and take it from me. There's nothing I could do about it. If you had a 2 APL horde army, you could just run 2 units onto that point and capture it. Nothing I could do to stop it. It was not great. It was very easy for someone who played even a semi-elite or a horde army to easily handle Warp Coven, and in the same fashion, easily handle higher attack. Especially back when they kept the heal low. Because, dude, the resurrection on higher attack did not feel good when the moment you got up, you found out you didn't have the initiative for the round, and then you immediately died because you had 2 wounds. It was just this huge waste of an ability. Since 9 times out of 10, you died because that room was overwhelmed, which meant you would get back up literally next to people who were just already up and ready to go. One of them could just run over and punch you after standing up and kill you. It's the reason why the top teams still, like even at this day and age, are the Commandos and the Vet Guard. Commandos and Vet Guard outnumber people heavily, which means they get a lot more APL to play with. Means they can easily handle a lot of oncoming threats with minimal effort. Like actually minimal effort. Because again, the game's about scoring points, not about killing. And that's kind of what separates the really good players from us mediocre players. Occasionally we forget that. In the games where I remember it, I do really well. In the games where I'm like, blood for the blood god, you'll find that my score is a lot farther away from my opponent. I think they're trying to walk the army back in like different ways. I think the Squig and the Grot is a good combo. Just because I think, don't the Farstalkers still have the multi-dog function? I thought they changed something about the Farstalkers. They nerfed the Farstalkers, I'm pretty sure, in the last Data Slate. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, that's what it is. Because the Crude are now a forced Horde team. They've been making it so Horde teams can easily play into Elite teams without getting Overwatch too much. They needed to cut that back. That is from even as a person who tends to play Elite teams, that is not like fun for Horde teams to be like, oh no, I'm getting Overwatched all the time. And then going to like, hey, you can't Overwatch me because all my stuff's GA2 now. And it's like, oh no. When did this happen? Why would anyone think that was a good idea? Because you need Overwatch in the game with the elites. It has to happen. If they take Overwatch away, it's just not as good. Elite teams will never maintain dominance because on paper, Overwatch is a great way to mitigate stuff. In practice, just sticking in conceal and sticking to cover when you're activated to prevent Overwatch from happening. And there you go. Good luck catching up, I guess. Let's do Ash White, I think. I'm liking them. I like that I went to blue with the armor. Because technically within this story of this team, it's like both things kind of exist. Both of like the main orcish memes, I guess, exist. The idea that blue is a lucky color and purple is a stealth color kind of makes it so the team is both lucky and stealth with how they look. Makes it feel orky. I'm gonna... Where is that red that I put down here? There it is. And called now. I'm gonna do the top of this landmine thing he's got here. In red. Symbolize that it's an explosive. I might actually do it in a fun way too. Once the red's down, I might do white chevrons across it and then hit them with the yellow speed paint when that's done. So it can be a red-yellow chevron caution symbol in his back. Hell yeah. There's a lot of metal on them. It'd be problematic because I don't like the metal all looking the same. I want it to be like slightly different things, slightly different tones. Like a hodgepodge of just weird colors. While we're over here too, let me grab my white ink. The ultimate in I don't own oil paint, but I would like to capillary paint some brights. I should have just had like a small container to put the white ink in. Got this whole ass freaking palette that I don't need all of. Clear the ink that's already in here out. Surprised the Farstalkers don't do as good. Like, I kind of get when big, scary elite teams with tons of amazing things, like, don't take tournaments in a kill team, because it is very clear that horde teams and teams that are able to focus on missions better than anyone else, those are the ones that tend to do it. Like, let's face it, the Felgor with their inability to die is pretty good when you consider trying to complete missions and perform tasks. Like, I imagined the Farstalkers would just be higher up on the list than they are. I don't think there was a Farstalker winner at the LVO at all. Like someone in the top. Like it's weird to think that a Farstalker didn't make it to top 10 or whatever they showed at the end, but a Hive Fleet player did. What kind of a gun is this? This is the Zap gun, right? Probably gonna have to actually just spray down the front. So a lot of you probably have seen videos around YouTube showing you how to do like inlaid glowing on like plasma coils and stuff by running oil paint with thinner in it into the crevices. This is white ink. I'm pretty sure white ink achieves almost the same exact look. Because again, it's ink, so it runs. It's capillary. Like, sometimes I'll add water to it to make it like a little bit better. But like we literally just got in all those dots even in the eye sockets. That's how easy that is. Titanium white Liquitex ink. If you're ever thinking doing like some fun glow effects, like I'm about to hit this with some chartreuse. Do I want to hit it with chartreuse? His eyes are going to be green. I haven't done pink on any of these guys yet. I know that's close to their skin color, so maybe not. What about magenta? What are we thinking about some of the more recent teams? Have we seen tournament data? I mean, I haven't, because I'm not paying for frickin' I'm not paying for the subscription for, I gotta figure out how to use the app. Everyone at the tournament used the app to track stuff, and every single game that I played, I completely didn't track properly. It made me sad. I need to track things better. I'm gonna make a game probably tonight while I'm hanging out, see how the app works. Yeah, I'm kind of interested because scouts were out for the last tournament I watched. Like someone on YouTube was streaming a Kill Team tournament and the scouts were the first game that they streamed. And it did not end well for the scouts. The novitiates like annihilated them, no problem. It was not a good thing for the scouts. Can't imagine the Hand of the Archon do that good, though. Just looking at how the Hand of the Archon are statted, like, they're going to have a hard time playing into almost any unit. There's going to be some trickery, I think, that's going to help them. But I do feel like we're about to see +1 to wound. Or +1 to all their unit wounds. 'Cause aren't they like 8 still? 8 and like 9? But they're kind of like an elite team. Which means 8 and 9 is not the number you're looking for. Eight and 9 is such a low number for health on a team of that size. Do 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 do. Kill team. Blades of Cain. 1 operative, 7. So it's usually 1 in 5, right, for proper elite teams. So I guess that's not bad. They have the most APL out of any team then, or almost the most. Like because it's 8, 24 versus probably still not Vetguard. Vetguard are still god tier for that. Because they're 10 at 2. So they're 20. So they would technically be less, right? 3, 4, 7, 12, 17. How many is it? 8, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 21, 24. So yeah, because they're 3 APL, right? Dire Avenger Warriors. Yeah. But then Vetguard, of course, can take the extra 4 units, which puts them over in APL. Yeah, that's the big thing. Vetguard, a flat Vetguard that doesn't have ancillary is actually, I think, worse in APL than the Blades of Cain. Which is pretty good for the Blades of Cain if you think about it. I just think that their statting is bad. Howling Banshee Exarch, wound 9, fine. But then a Howling Banshee is wounds 8, which is dead in 2 hits to almost anything. 2 or 3 hits. Which, like, that doesn't feel good. I think we're going to get +1 to wound on maybe the Striking Scorpions and the Banshees. Probably not the Dire Avengers. Dire Avengers are not meant to go into melee. Conceptually, they have the APL and the bodies to do well. The fact that they don't seem to do well, or maybe there's not enough people interested in playing them. That could also be a thing. I don't know the statistics for like how many players are like, ooh, Blades of Cain. Ooh, a piece of candy. I almost don't have to paint this gun barrel past here because I am going to hit it for the glowiness. No problem, Steven. Hopefully I can get more out soon. In the process of kind of packing stuff up and moving. a little hard to record right now, at least to the quality I want for those kinds of videos. We're also, of course, painting some squads. Hopefully will help with the recording of those videos as they get finished. And then at some point here we can try to expand into 40K and Age of Sigmar and Underworlds. Because I've been picking all of those formats up. You can take a look at them. Do some more painting videos. I did not. I actually completely forgot about it. I brought it up like an hour ago that it was going to happen, and then I just did not pay attention to the time. And I guess since you're all talking to me, it wasn't the end of the world, so works out. Part of me was wondering if I was going to look over and notice like the server was disconnected and then my power would go out and I'd be like, oh, it was because I didn't look into the eclipse. I must be one of the last people left alive. And then you drive around being an asshole until all of a sudden you're like, oh, it must have just been a local power outage. Probably shouldn't have been driving around on that sidewalk. I have to tone this a bit. I think this is the Game Chasers song that everyone was talking about last time we listened to it. Yeah, Investigations. It's over. The Star Gods did it. I only survived because I'm antisocial and don't care about weird things like eclipses. Sounds about right. Par for the course. I'm actually interested to see. I'm going to try to clean up on Tuesday, like I was saying. And when these guys are basic done, I kind of want to see how this new camera setup works out for the airbrush. Because with its ability to zoom in, all I got to do is kind of flip it over, face it towards the airbrush table, zoom in greatly. We'll be good to go. That was the one thing that really made me not want to airbrush on stream, was just like, it didn't look good. It was really far away from the camera. I couldn't make the camera get any closer than it is. I was watching freaking I don't understand this. This is one of those things where it's like, yep, internet's listening to me through my cell phone and giving me ads based on things that are said. I was on the podcast I do every Saturday, and there was a question that popped up that was like, who would win in a fight, a Spartan or a Space Marine? Because like people over on that podcast are starting to get used to the idea that I play tabletop now. And they were like, I don't know, what do you think, Evan? And I was like, who into who? I mean, what are the rules? What do we consider the actual lore of each? Because I gotta tell you, when I play Halo, and a regular assault rifle can kill a Spartan, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you a bolter is probably gonna kill them much faster. And then, like, literally the next day, I checked my phone, and it was like, there was a short in my phone, like, in my YouTube list, that was a guy trying to talk about how the matchup between a Halo Spartan and a Space Marine would be a lot closer than people would think. I'm like, why is this here now? No. The internet. It's freaking trying to get me to watch stuff I don't care about. Catan 2, Electric Boogaloo. I didn't fight Necron at that tournament. I could have. I do feel like I let my team down a little. I mean, we all lost. We all kept losing. It's how it worked. I was actually the second worst person individually at that tournament. Oof. Oofda. The last match we played against one of the 2 Necron players that were there, though. I should have went with my gut feeling about what the tournament was going to feel like and actually tried to build like a non-meme list. I don't know, the meme list was fun. But like, the way, in my own mind, I was like, alright, this is a small store locally. I know that some big players usually go to it to try to do matches and occasionally run tournaments and stuff. I know that that happens occasionally, but like, it's probably not that big of a deal. The guy running the tournament said it was his first time back to try to run tournaments. Like, maybe there's gonna be like a little bit going on, but not like a lot. Maybe this will be like some new players looking to get in. So like, let me not be an asshole and bring like a straight up like sweat list. Let me bring this memey little, you know, I have a couple big units type list. It'll be fun. Yeah, I got mauled first turn by a Sisters player who was like, they know. They brought the first team we fought has been going to tournaments like all over the place. That's what they do. They just go to tournaments everywhere, and they're constantly refining their lists to do better at tournaments. So like, I was getting like the razor's edge of like, yeah, this list does really well at tournaments. It's like, ah, no. The next game, though, against the Imperial Knight was close. Mostly because I raffle stomped his Canis Rex right away. And then proceeded to roll poorly the whole game. I wasn't... Like, I just didn't... By the end of it, I realized I didn't have enough tools on the table to, like, go capture points or do anything. And you need that. You actually need that. Like, the sisters had great tools for that in the form of their jetpack troops that kind of shoot and scoot. Like, shoot scoot units, amazing right now. The music over? No. I tried to do some fun stuff with my Zangor Enlightened. It didn't pan out, which is why we're moving over to on-disc units. I gotta think, though. I gotta think real hard about how I'm gonna handle backline missions. Part of me really does think maybe I have too many Cabal points base when I don't need them. I need to look into it. Cause I'm unsure. I'm flabbergasted by it. Like what I might need to run. Cause I'm thinking of the mechanics of how my opponents dealt with things. And their ability to adapt, because almost everyone I played tactical instead of fixed. And their ability to mid-action be able to be like, oh, I gotta do this. Boom, I'm in. Meanwhile, I would get one and I'd be like, oh, I 100% could not do that even if I tried. Because part of me wants to see... It is a little bit of an issue with the list. Because I think if I did it, it would end up having me drop a couple of my Exalted Sorcerers alongside my Rubrics, which maybe that won't be so bad. But I would end up going 2 squads Blue Horrors. I'm going to want this sorted before Wednesday, because Wednesday is the big test. Where is he? 2 squads Blue Horrors for 250 points. And then 90 points on a Changeling. Because the Changeling is literally just a, hey, you want to place him somewhere and get missions done? Do it. That's all he is. And he's great for it. And having 2 squads of Blue Horrors gives me the ability to body block with one, keep the other in deep strike so I can use them later when I need to. Like, reserves feel very important in the game right now. Like, way too important. To the point where, like, I can't not use them. Like, I'm kind of almost forced to have reserves. Uppy Downey's pretty big. Reserves are pretty big. It's why I was debating taking a Demon Prince with Wings, because the Demon Prince with Wings for the Thousand Suns is a permanent uppy-downy unit that can just go every single turn and do what it needs to do. Checkerboard this. Might checkerboard the top of his helmet too. I gotta think about it. Cause yeah, scoring tools are massive. I need scoring tools in this game. I don't feel like I have enough. I feel like the sorcerers and stuff, the Exalted on Disc, when merged with the ability to double move, could be useful. But still, I'm putting a lot of faith in single units that move very quickly, who might not be durable enough to take what's coming. Right? It's kind of problematic. Whereas I watched a squad of blue horrors take the biggest beating and almost walk out the other side unscathed. Or at least completely regenerated as little Bernie dudes. They're hard to shift. You have to guarantee that you're putting a lot in. Because that's the thing I'm noticing. Like, it's a 10-man squad. If all I have to do is worry about like an 8-round attack, like an 8-shot attack from like one of the knights or something, you're not killing them right away. You're gonna have to put way more in to prevent them from being where they are doing what they're doing. And if that's going to be the case, like, then I'm making you waste more attacks to prevent me from getting score. Maybe that's useful. I mean, it is still problematic because it is rolls of 4+. Make it even matter. So that's what, 50% parsing. Means on average a 10-man squad of blue horrors is technically 15 people. Not the worst. But then again, the way that I roll, I could lose 9 of the 10, roll the dice, and gain nothing back. Such is the will of Tzeentch. All as planned. Checkerboards. Love them. That's right, we wanted to do the chevrons. This bad boy up here. Gotta be kind of careful with them. Must skip song. Oh no, go ahead.
Took a swing at a wrecking ball and I prayed for my downfall and I found a way to reconcile, 'cause in my heart it's not worthwhile. It's a bloody battlefield where some go down, others heal. In the end it's all the same. All you can do is play the game. Oh, do we say goodbye? Refuse to question why. I deserve to say I'm sorry, so lie. Pretend that you're okay. Swear that you will stay. Keep trying for one day. I'm sick of all these lies. Don't care if I capsize. There's nothing left for me to hide. Don't wanna live a lie. Too many lows, too many highs. Too many things to criticize. And so I leave it all behind. Don't wanna live a lie. Life kept spitting at my feet and forced me down a dead-end street when all I had went up in flames, burning only dark remains. I cover up every part of my skin, oh,
250.
like the person within.
Probably just get to finish this guy.
All I can do is take the shame. Oh, do we say goodbye? Refuse to question.
We gotta get moving. We did 3 units today. Not bad. Still got 5 to go though. So still gonna clean up Tuesday, but I probably won't be airbrushing on stream. So far, everyone in the Discord for paint night has basically been like, nah, brah. We will not be there for paint. I don't know. Like, this is the most comfortable spot for me. Hang on. There we go. That way that can at least be there for Thursday. A little bit more metallic toning done. Beautiful. Let's get the Agrax Earthshade onto the backpack a little bit. Earthshade. Give it some different tonal browns. All right. Let me try to get this focused for you guys. I can't wait to do the glowy effect, to actually go back over it with the airbrush. It'll really spruce up kind of how the gun barrels are. Cause like this looks kind of stagnant and basic, but if I can like kind of cut it off and then make it look like it's glowing like a bright magenta or something, and then redo the basing to make it look like it is actually kind of glowing orange everywhere, which will reinforce the underglow that I've got going on them. They're fun so far. I'm liking the orcs. I'm looking forward to doing the underworld stuff though soon. Ugh. All right, so camera test good. I'm happy about that. That's nice. Thanks for hanging out. I gotta get moving though. I gotta get some stuff together. And then yeah, eventually I gotta clean. I gotta get these guys out of here. Like I gotta put the little magnets in them. They're taking up too much space on my desk. And they are done. So you know how it is. What am I don't really want to do any more building or anything tonight, even though I've got the new Underworld stuff since I bought the starter set. I'm just gonna chill, write up a script, maybe get a new video going. I've got all this B-roll I really need to start working on. I'll probably start that up tonight, so I can at least try to get something together for next week. It'll be good. Thanks for hanging out. Looks like everyone's gone. No, this stream was lower end because it's Monday. Aw, it's whatever. Stream health was good the whole time. All good. Later.